There are a lot of crazy stories from the 2023 NFL Draft, but none may be as crazy as the story of Keion White. At one point, he was a 0-star recruit with no offers, and he was going to head off to the military. But after one position change, he ended up becoming a 2-star player, went to a low-level FBS school, went to a low-level Power 5 school, then was given a first-round grade, and now has settled in as a second-round pick for the New England Patriots. Today we're going to be talking about Keion White. He's a Patriots rookie who's getting a ton of buzz, and is one of the more underrated stories from this year's draft. We're going to go through his incredible journey, talk about how he got to this point, his Old Dominion and Georgia Tech career, and why he's getting a lot of hype for the Patriots. But before we get started, quickly be sure to leave a like if you're going to support today's video, subscribe if you're new and love college football content, and let me know what player, team topic, or situation I could cover next. Now let's get started and talk about the insane rise of Keion White. So going back in time, Keion grew up near Raleigh, North Carolina, and he always wanted to be different. He wasn't attached to his phone or TV, as he said, quote, "I'm not a guy who played video games all day, I just wanted to get out of the house and try new things." Apparently he loved everything from hiking to woodworking and pretty much all sports. He eventually began playing football at 5 years old, and when he arrived at Garner High School, he had very little fanfare. I mean, no one expected this guy to really do anything. When he started his high school career, he was obviously on the JV team and was actually teammates with future NFL players Matthew Butler and then former Colt and NC State running back Nyheim Hines. At the time, he was only 150 pounds and seemingly had no shot at playing high major football, except he didn't give up and kept working, and an unforeseen switch would actually end up changing his life. He said, quote, "Yeah, it's actually a funny story. So nobody wanted to play center, and it was summer workouts one day. I was going into my junior year, and our center was messing up all practice. I'm a big trash talker. I was like, 'You're bad,' and then the coach got mad at me, and he was like, 'If you think you're that good, you go do it.' I'm never one to back down, so I went out and did it, and it just so happened I could actually play, so that's how I ended up playing center. So while he was a center, he learned to become more physical, but he'd once again have to make another change. Going into his senior year, he didn't have a single scholarship offer and contemplated just joining the military. But he didn't give up on his football dream, as he decided to transition to tight end and defensive end during his senior year in 2017, and it was a move that paid off. He was named a first-team all-conference player after catching 20 passes for 243 yards and 4 touchdowns. He eventually started to get a little bit of college interest and became a 2-star recruit. He received 5 total offers from Virginia State, North Carolina A&T, Norfolk State, Elon, and Old Dominion. Eventually, he decided to commit to Old Dominion, which was by far the best offer of the bunch, and he was now going to be able to play high major football, granted at a very low level. According to 24/7 Sports, White was listed as a 2-star recruit, the number 140 tight end, and the 3,114th best player in the class of 2017. So, how did he end up doing as a Monarch? Well, let's take a look. So in 2017, he'd arrive at Old Dominion as a tight end and was hoping to become a star for the Monarchs. But once again, he would have to change positions in order to get on the field. During his second season there at the Monarchs, ODU had lost a defensive end, and because of dire circumstance, he would have to switch from tight end to defensive end. He said, quote, "There was a spot that needed to be filled, and my coaches were saying, 'Hey, do you want to play defensive end? And we know you're our starting tight end, but if you suck, you can just go back.' I ended up being really good at it." White would end up becoming a big-time player for Old Dominion. He would put up video game numbers and blossomed into one of the better young players in the country. He ended up finishing with 19 tackles for loss, 27 quarterback hurries, and 13 quarterback hits. He played 635 snaps and got a PFF grade of 84.8. Newsflash, that is pretty good. Fast forward to 2020, Old Dominion decided to cancel its football season, and White decided it was time for him to enter the transfer portal because of that. Because he had only been playing defensive end for one season, he sought a place that could help him grow in the role and get better at it. He didn't want to do anything new, and ended up hearing from a couple of big-time schools. Auburn, NC State, South Carolina, Tennessee, Duke, Mississippi State, and Missouri all came after him. But there was one school that immediately popped up for him. It was Georgia Tech. He said, quote, "Georgia Tech's coaches were the only ones that told me I was terrible, and I kind of responded to that laughing. So they said, 'Yeah, you're good and everything like that, but these are the things you suck at.' I feel like any coach can tell you what you're good at, and anybody can Google your stats and go, but a person who really cares about you will tell you where you need to improve, and a good coach will have those hard conversations." That is what Georgia Tech did, and that is why Keion decided to transfer there. While the Yellow Jackets weren't the best team in the country, He was loyal to the staff because they were loyal to him. In 2021, he would end up breaking his ankle as a Yellow Jacket, and the staff stood by him, which meant a lot. That ankle injury would greatly reduce his 2021 season. He dislocated his ankle playing pickup basketball in August and missed the first 8 games of the season. He said he returned at roughly 60% for the final 4 games and finished with just 4 tackles. Apparently, he was still an NFL draft prospect though, but he needed to come back. He said, quote, "I learned how to be more technical when I play football for sure, and just be better with my hands and play better technique. But because I wasn't as explosive or as athletic, it caused me to play better football." He said the injury is what propelled him to this point. He could have declared for the 2021 NFL Draft, as I said, but after the injury, he decided to return for the 2022 season and try and increase his stock and profile. Georgia interim head coach Brent Key said, quote, "He's a big kid that could run. He has a side-speed combination at that position that is rare, and those are things that you just can't teach." White ended up finishing with 7.5 sacks and 11.5 tackles for loss, and was the best defender on the team in 2022 for the Jackets. According to PFF, he had a 72.6 overall grade for both his pass rush and rush defense, and while the national media didn't really give him any hype, he would end up becoming a fast rising prospect after a great Senior Bowl performance and after scouts dug into his film more. Before the draft, he was potentially supposed to be a first-round pick, and I remember him being as high as even top 10 at one point. He said he had a few players he was trying to model his game after, as he said, quote, "Definitely JJ Watt and definitely Max Crosby because of how much of a technician he is, but more so JJ because of how versatile he is." His measurables were anything but normal, as he stood at 6'4", 290 pounds, had a 32-inch vertical, did 38 reps of 225 on the bench press, and had a great ability to move and be agile despite how big he was. Mel Kiper had this to say, quote, "More than half a dozen of the scouts polled at the Senior Bowl say he's the top-ranked prospect in Mobile this week. The buzz around White is that he'll be a first-round pick, with one scout for a playoff team wondering if he'd still be available when they select in the later half of round 1. He would end up falling to the second round, and Bill Belichick decided to draft Keion White with the 46th overall pick, and he would go to the New England Patriots. I remember at the time there was a viral video of him when he got drafted, and it showed a less than enthusiastic reaction. Well, there are apparently 2 reasons for this. One, all his former coaches say he's very serious and doesn't really like to laugh and be super celebratory. And 2, he also said the camera was on him before he actually got drafted, so it was actually just him looking around before the big moment happened. Either way, it doesn't really matter, and the New England Patriots fan base was very excited to get White, and so was the coaching staff in New England. White got immediate hype with the Patriots, as in his preseason debut, he was great. He played 27 snaps, had 3 tackles, and 3 quarterback pressures, and that stat line did not even show how disruptive he was. He was constantly getting pressure, was causing nightmares for opposing offensive lines, and looked like a future star for the Patriots. Unfortunately, he has battled a preseason injury, but it looks like he'll be ready to go. When I scrolled through Twitter and Reddit, there are many Patriots fans wondering if he'll have 10+ sacks as a rookie, and while I don't know if I'd go that far, Keion White could be one of the most underrated players from this year's draft class, and is definitely someone to keep an eye on. But what do you guys think? If you're a Georgia Tech or a Patriots fan, what do you think of Keion White? Who's another rookie or a young NFL player I should take a look at my next video? And what other topics should I cover on the channel? Be sure to let me know down below, leave a like if you want to support today's video, subscribe if you're new, and check out all of the videos on the end screen. Hope to see you guys again soon, but until next time, peace.